Jim Jones. Who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's not like no one's top 10 list. Maybe not even his family.
Maybe niggas are scared to hustle because niggas are snitching so much. Maybe that's what's going on. I would be scared to hustle too when I know that every other nigga is snitching just so he don't want to do no time because he's can't bear to be inside the jail system.
Rapper Jim Jones is listed as a federal informant in court documents in the case against Tekashi. In the original court transcripts that were previously released online, the conversation between individual 1, Jim Jones, is listed as cooperating with federal agents in a conversation with Jamal Murder Jones, which would explain why Jim Jones has been able to have such a lengthy criminal record and avoid prison time in the past.
An old audio of Jay-Z just leaked calling Jim Jones a snitch. But Jay's own #1 at Roc Nation is a confirmed federal informant. So why now? And why Jim? So as you all know by now, Jim Jones recently caused a whole lot of drama with his comments about Nas. And that's when all of Jim's old drama started bubbling back up, including receipts that he cooperated with the feds. But here's the confusing part. If Jay-Z is so anti-snitch, why is his own right-hand woman a known informant? And why did Jay give Jim Jones a Roc Nation deal if he knew he was a snitch?
As we can tell, there's no expense being spared. We had a black billionaire's lunch. Yeah. You understand?
Right.
And we here together.
I think we passed kneeling.
Let me play again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him. The reason why she's worried about how Jay would respond is because she's the CEO of Roc Nation. But in her former life, she was a federal informant.
Alright, let's start with the audio leak that set this all off. In this resurfaced clip, Jay was talking about his beef with Jim Jones. And he straight up called Jim a fake rapper who doesn't even register as one of his peers because his role in the industry is not music, but something else.
Jim Jones, man. Hip-hop, of course, you know, is a competitive sport. But on the other end of it, it's like certain people shouldn't be able to say your names until they've done something in the genre of music. I've done too much in this music to even have to answer that question. Like, Jim Jones, who is Jim Jones? Like, he's not on anyone's top 10 list. He's like no one's top 10 list, maybe not even his family. I was saying last night, it's like the 8th guy on the bench just screaming at Jordan, like, you a bum. Like, you want to be like the 9th guy on the bench. I'm not even worried about you.
Now does this mean Jay knew something about Jim before others caught on? And if Jay was hinting at Jim being a fake rapper and an informant, why did Jay end up bringing Jim to Roc Nation? Alright, let's first talk about these rumors that Jim is a Fed snitch. These rumors have been floating around for a minute, but trust 50 Cent to make sure nobody forgets. 50 brought the snitch talk back into the spotlight with an Instagram post showing Jim next to Jay-Z, Diddy, Fat Joe, and a few others. And he wrote in the caption, LOL individual 1, calling the shots out here, I know you working, so please don't say gangster-ish to me. Individual 1. Now, if you're wondering what that was about, it ties back to those long-standing rumors that Jim was working with the feds during Tekashi 6 I multiplied by 9 racketeering case. See, while 6 I multiplied by 9 INE was on the stand snitching on his 9 Trey Bloods crew, a wiretapped phone call leaked where Jim was heard saying that Tekashi ain't a gang member no more and needs to get violated. And of course, didn't waste time and he posted the full transcript of that call. So, as you all know, back in 2018, Tekashi got hit with federal racketeering and gun charges along with a bunch of 9 Trey Gangster Bloods members, a violent crew tied to the Bloods. The feds had been building a case on Nin Trey for a minute. And once Tekashi was arrested and charged, he started cooperating to cut a deal.
Brooklyn rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine pleaded guilty to federal charges, admitting he participated in a violent gang. He also pledged to cooperate with prosecutors. The rapper, whose legal name is Daniel Hernandez, said he joined the 9 Trey Blood gang in the fall of 2017. He says he helped them try to kill a rival gang member last March. Prosecutors say the gang carried out acts of murder, robbery, and narcotics trafficking in Manhattan, the Bronx, and Brooklyn. The indictment also said each gang member was required to participate in at least 2 acts of racketeering conspiracy, which could include murder, robbery, extortion, or drug distribution. The plea deal could allow Hernandez leniency at sentencing. He was facing a mandatory 47-year prison sentence.
Jim Jones to the top 9 Trey members, but because it raised a bigger question. How did Jim end up on a federal wiretap talking gang business and still walk away with no charges? So, after the trial, people started asking the obvious. How does Jim get caught on tape talking about violating someone, but somehow he's the one affiliate who doesn't get indicted? Naturally, this sparked serious talk that Jim might have been working with the feds or at the very least cooperating enough to dodge heat. And no one pushed that angle harder than Wack 100. He straight up called Jim a federal informant, saying the only reason he didn't end up in cuffs was because he was playing ball with law enforcement. Wack doubled down on Clubhouse and interviews, even when talking to Tekashi. And he actually dared Jim to clear his name and show receipts that he wasn't cooperating. Jim Jones, right? He ran with the...
He definitely humiliating Shotty right now, bro.
Well, you got your picture up there next to the post. Nigga. Like, when you go to YouTube and World Star, they got his picture next to this. Hey, everything he say, they got a split screen with Shotty picture next to this. I said, this is crazy, son. But he's doing that to make K9 think he don't got no relationship with Boy. That's what he's trying to do. That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to live. He's trying to separate himself.
That's cool, but now he gotta get violated.
Yeah, super violated. Super duper. So ain't too much he can really do unless he gonna go run around with 100 armed securities all day. You know what I'm saying? He gonna get shot at pay.
He ain't getting enough money for that.
That's a fact. And he just canceled all his shows.
And he ain't a gang member no more.
Nah, he ain't nothing.
That's what Shotty needs to make sure he do.
Nah, we
tell that he's not a gang member no more. He kicked out the whip. He was never a gang member. Shotty need to expose him.
All right, now that you know where all the Jim Jones is a snitch talk started, let's bring it back to Jay-Z. Because to understand why Jay might have set Jim up for a public takedown, you got to go back to how deep their beef runs. So Jay and Jim had a long-gunning beef that went on for over a decade, starting way back in the early 2000s. It kicked off in 2002 when Dame Dash brought Cameron and Jim into Rockefeller. The tension started when Jim claimed Cam was promised a vice president role at the label, but Jay never publicly backed that up. Jay, the source at the time, that's not taking effect as of yet. I think the talk is a little premature as of right now. Now, this was all going on around the same time Jay was beefing with Nas. So Jay decided to record a remix of Cam and Joel Santana's hit Oh Boy, where he threw shots at Nas. However, Cam and Jim weren't feeling it. They refused to release the remix, and Cam actually ended up cutting Jay's verse, and he later said he wasn't about to let Jay use their record to fight his own battles.
Jim Jones, right? He ran with the same I ran with a decade before I met him. Jim Jones, the Dipset, the that was just over there dancing on verses. Jim Jones was running with Shotty, Cafano Jordan, right? Mel Matrix, Jamel Jones, Road Murder, Roland Martin. He was running Fu Banger, Fuquan. I forgot his last name, Fuquan something. He was running with all of the cats I ran with and got indebted for. You know what Jim Jones did? That nigga did not take care of none of them. Cause when I ran to them, Shotty was sleeping on the rug on Madison between Tompkins and Troop. Mel Murder was on Gates and Marcus Garvey with his baby mother. Roland Martin was just doing 9 years. He blew trial. That made them. That take care of him. From Shotty was sleeping on the rug. That driving a 6'3" Benz in 6 months, living in a condo, doing meetings with Kanye. Kanye was taking him to Yeezy meetings, board meetings. Matrix had his own, everything on his own. His kids was eating. Roland Martin came home to a new AP, watch, money, cars, everything. That Jim Jones did not take care of none of his. I took care of him. And on top of that, Jim Jones was caught on wiretap telling Jamel, look, Jim Jones was caught on wiretap telling Jim Jones was caught on wiretap on my case, he was telling the big homie Mel Matrix, Jamel Jones, to go and get rid of my security. How you do it? How you shoot at them? They don't got no license to carry weapons, don't nothing in New York.
Wack also agrees with him and says that you can find the audio online because it was used in the trial. 6ix9ine and Wack both question why Jim Jones isn't in jail if he was caught on tape saying he was going to kill 6ix9ine, suggesting that he must have cooperated in the trial. 6ix9ine also starts making some accusations about Desiree Perez, the CEO of Roc Nation, but Wack shuts him down before he can say too much.
And that moment basically set the tone. Cam and Jim felt like Jade didn't respect them. And that's when the sneak disses really kicked off. Jim started going at Jay more in interviews and on the radio, calling him out as corporate, out of touch with the streets, and soft.
Jimmy, Detective Jones, people at Splash Brand do not f with no informants. I did 4 years in the feds, homie, because I ain't snitch. You set your best friend up on a wiretap. See, Wack 100 and Tekashi, they don't got receipts like that because they really don't know.
And at first, Jay stayed quiet and didn't respond directly, but everyone could tell there was tension inside Rockefeller. Then, in 2006, Jim dropped We Fly High. The song was a huge hit, and that's when Jay finally decided to respond with Brooklyn High Rook.
I did a little something for you in the studio. Then he had something to Old Boy.
This is Old Boy's already #1?
Yeah, it's popping. I listened to it and I was like, erase that shit.
But it wasn't over yet because Jim fired back with another remix of We Fly High beef mix where he went after Jay's age, calling him an old head and sending direct shots with the lines like I told warning your old A to chill. Better slow down before your old A gets killed. Now fast forward to 2008 and the beef spilled into real life. That's when security footage caught Jim putting his hands on someone inside a Louis Vuitton store, and it turned out the guy was Jay-Z's longtime A&R, Lenny Santiago. Jim ended up getting arrested for it and later pleaded guilty to misdemeanor assault. And while Jay didn't comment directly on the incident, a few months later in an XXL interview, he took shots at Jim, saying tracks like "Na Na Na" are exactly what's dragging the culture down. Jay said, I mean like Jim Jones, for example. And I don't mean this because we never see eye to eye. He made "Na Na Na." What's the difference between Smiley Face by Trey Songz and Soulja Boy and Na 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 could have been called Smiley Face? So after that, the beef went quiet for a while, but then in 2015, Dipe It reignited things again with a freestyle over Diddy's victory beat. Cam and Jim threw shots at Jay and Roc Nation, mocking the Roc Nation brunch and throwing shade at Jay for being too soft and corporate. But then things took a wild turn. Jim suddenly flipped and started begging Jay to sign him. Jump to February 2017, and after 13 years of beef, Jim officially signed with Roc Nation and joined Jay's camp.
First of all, let's get right to it. There seems to be some drama. You and The Rock, Jay-Z, you try to diss. You did diss him. I diss nobody. You dissed him. I dissed Michael Jordan. Oh man, we just having fun out here. There's no drama, man. No, we're gonna get to that. Shouts to Dave Dash, who started Rockefeller Records. If y'all don't know, he's responsible for Rockefeller getting off the floor. That started in Harlem. You know what I'm talking about?
And Jim didn't keep it low-key either. Jim bragged about getting invited to Jay's Roc Nation brunch, the same event he used to diss. He also started praising Jay publicly and was clearly doing everything to prove his loyalty.
Hustling like they need to, you dig? And they ain't keeping it funky like they used to. So I don't understand. Maybe scared to hustle because snitching so much. Maybe that's what's going on. I would be scared to hustle too when I know that every other snitching just so he don't want to do no time because he's can't bear to be inside the jail system. Now the to say not nothing to brag about when I was coming up. Kind of happy to go to jail to say they did something tough, even though I never been behind the walls myself. But my I be around, there used to be a bragging point, like I just came home. That was when we was young. Nowadays, you punks are scared to go in and do the damn thing.
Think the Locks, Fat Joe, J. Cole, Meek, they all had issues with Jay-Z, only to end up signing a deal with Roc Nation. Now, as for Jim Jones, after Jay brought him to The Rock, Jay continued to keep his distance from him. So was Jay protecting his brand and keeping his distance because of that whole Tekashi situation and snitching allegations? Well, here's where it gets tricky. Jay's whole I don't mess with snitches act. That might just be for show because guess what? Jay's right-hand woman and the president of Roc Nation, Desiree Perez, is a documented informant.
And now it looks like another former rival will be relying on Hov's team to steer his career, as Dip says Jim Jones is allegedly heading over to Roc Nation. Capo posted a picture of bottles of Douce and Ace of Spades next to a Roc Nation letterhead on IG and told fans to caption this.
If anybody getting extra checks, ship to us.